So I need to gather all of my expenses for the last year, right? That was a question that I got from a friend and client just the other day, and I wanted to talk about what the answer was because this is a mistake that I see so many people make when it comes to the new year, new budget type mentality. So let's get to it. Welcome back to the Your Money, Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Aimee Cerka. We are talking today about, or I'm answering live, a question that I got from a friend and client just the other week. We were talking about, new budget, new year, all the things. And she was like, so I need to gather all of my expenses for the last 12 months, right? And the answer really is not really. Sure, it's a great idea. Yeah, that'd be awesome if you did it. But that's way overwhelming for, I don't know, everybody. Because, I love numbers and that's a little overwhelming even for me. I know it's probably less so because, I've got the system, I have it all set up. I know it's easier to do. But if I had to sit there and pull bank statements and categorize everything for the last 12 months to try and create this budget to move forward, that's a lot of extra work. Partly for a couple reasons, right? The economy changes, inflation changes. So who knows, even if you went and did the work for the last 12 months, gathered all of those expenses, who knows if that's even going to be accurate for what it is now moving forward. Secondly, then you're going to spend all that extra work doing that. And then are you going to make time to do that? Because you haven't really had the up-to-date budget as it is. You haven't made the time to do that. But now you're going to make the time to do this massive project. Already feels overwhelming, but you're going to do all of this all at once. And we're actually going to make time for it, right? We're not going to get distracted and go do something else. You see how this is a problem? What would be a way better idea to do is start now. Okay. This is what we talk about inside Budgeting Simplified is the personal budgeting system, and Prosperity Simplified is the business budgeting system. I'll make sure that I'll include links below for both of those. Those are the budgeting systems that I have created for you to simply budget for prosperity, creating wealth, security. It scales with you as your income does. It follows the 3 rules of a successful budget, which we're going to get to in just a second, as part of this is why I wouldn't do that. Okay. Well, but we'll put links in the show notes for you so you can check those out if you are like, hey, yeah, I need to do something about this. Okay. So instead of spending all the time looking back at the past transactions, because, we can't change the past, right? So looking at it really doesn't change anything. A lot of guilt and shame can come up from spending choices, etc. The smarter choice would be to start now. If you wanted to go back towards the beginning of the month, hey, that's smart. Start with whatever, as the time that this goes live, I think this will be in January. Yes. Okay. So go back to January 1st. Okay. Look at that. What was the expenses that you've had since January 1st? And the pro step here, there's a couple pro steps. The first thing I would do would be use a tracking system. My personal one that I use and recommend is called YNAB. You Need a Budget. YNAB. Okay. We'll put the link below in the show notes. I've got an affiliate link that gives you a free 32-day trial, I believe it is. Use something. Okay. Mint is another one that's out there. I don't love Mint for a couple different reasons. It's not as customizable. You kind of have to fit into their boxes. And I'm not a fan of that in general. You need to be able to have the customization that you want within your budget because it's your budget, right? I know a lot of the banks have a tracking system built in, like Chase, etc. The reason why I don't love that is it's one bank. So if you have multiple cards and accounts across different things, even if you don't use the others as much, you're not getting the full picture of where you're at because it's specific to this one thing. Okay. It's better than nothing though. So if you're going to use that, sure, use it, but just something. Okay. That's the first step. Use a tracking system because we don't want you to have to do this manually all the time. It needs to be systematized. That's one of the rules in finding the rules to having a successful budget. It has to be able to be systematized. It does not need you to be in charge, a part of it all the time. It needs to be able for you to be more hands off. You're checking in as a CEO. Okay. The second thing that I would do, the second pro step here, is I would make a list. We have two different things that we're going to make lists for. The first one is your monthly expenses. So these are the recurring charges that you get charged every single month. Water bill, electricity bill, phone bill, all those things. The date that it processes on, who you're paying, and the card or account number that it auto drafts from. Okay. The reason that we keep up with this is so that you know that it actually processes and you're not all of a sudden getting this like, hey, it didn't go through for whatever reason. You know, your card's expired, something didn't line up, you didn't have the available credit, glitch on their end, who knows? But just being able to keep an eye on it, knowing what those recurring monthly expenses are. Okay. So that's the second pro step. Third pro step, start what we call an annual expenses tracker. Those are the things that we pay for quarterly, annually, semi-annually, less than monthly, okay? Make a list of the date that it processes and the amount and what it is. So that way, when you go through your month-end process at the end of the month, you can look at what's going to process the next month and determine if you still need to have it. It's a lot easier to cancel these things before they renew, right? As opposed to getting your money back afterwards. But those, I don't know, 5 minutes that you spend once a month making sure that you've tracked and written down whatever those annual expenses might be. Maybe it's your car registration, car insurance, life insurance, Disney Plus, whatever. Make a list of them, the amount, the date that it processes. So next year or next time it bills, if it's quarterly, you know, like, okay, hey, this is going to renew. Let me see. Am I actually still using this? Especially on business transactions, we do this all the time. So, you know, Calendly, Otter, some of those that you just automatically process, we can forget about, right? But if you've got your annual expenses set up, personal one and a business one, then you're set up for success. Now, if you want the templates for these, we'll include a link for that below because I had the Budgeting for Success worksheets available, which are the templates. There's 6 different worksheets included in there for you that if you feel like you've kind of got the budgeting system on point, you've got the worksheets there to fill everything out. Okay. And they're available electronically and printable. So whichever version you prefer there. But the key is this is about making things simple. So we want to track it. We want to know the numbers that we need to know or that we should know, that we're able to move forward, but we're able to do this without making it mean anything, assigning meaning, guilt, shame, whatever, not getting stuck in the numbers because we can go back and we can record these things. We can know where they're at. But when we don't add the meaning to it is when we're still able to operate from the possibility, from the abundance aspect, instead of getting stuck in the nickel and diming and scarcity. Okay. So long story short, don't sit there and feel like you have to go back and look at a year's worth of expenses. It's not going to do you any good. If you want to go back a month, great. I would start now. And the reason that we do that is, again, we want to make sure we're actually going to do the work that we need to. So this is the best way to make sure you're doing the work that you need to, but also things change. So we build in those other 2 keys of having a successful budget is that your budget should be able to scale with you as your income grows, right? So as your income grows, is it set up to scale? The best way to do that is through a percentage-based budgeting system, okay? Of course, Budgeting Simplified and Prosperity Simplified are both percentage-based budgeting systems. But the third thing is it needs to be able to handle when life goes off track, right? So many times when we zero-based budget is what this is called, when every dollar has an assigned place, and technically like your bank account should be at 0. That is stressful as all get out, right? Because we need to be able to have a little bit of flexibility in our life. What if you forget about something? What if you're out and there's an emergency that happens and you don't have what you need to available? That's not comforting, right? So what we do is we build in a cushion so that we have the security in place that doesn't matter if you miss a transaction, we can catch it and move forward, right? This also helps when you're first establishing your budget because it's going to take a couple months to kind of figure out where your numbers actually lie. How much you actually spend on average on groceries every month, household expenses, transportation, all of those things. They kind of fluctuate, right? We call them varied necessities. It's going to take a couple months to figure that out. But when you build in the cushion, then you're set up for success. So you can start tracking now or from the beginning of the month when you have the cushion in place. And we talk about, again, how to do that inside Budgeting Simplified, Prosperity Simplified. But those systems work because we've set them up and we're actually using them. And that's the biggest thing. If you're going back and looking 12 months ago at your expenses, are you actually moving forward? Are you doing the work that you need to? Or does it just become this massive item on your to-do list that you keep putting off and you're not doing the work that you need to because it's too big of a project? And when we make it too big of a project, we allow ourselves to avoid it. We do the exact same thing with our bookkeeping. This is the time where, I get all of the cleanup clients that come to me. It's like, hey, I need to enter all my expenses for 2024 because I need to file taxes. Okay, great. We'll get you taken care of. We can do all that. And if you are listening to this and that's you, send me a message on Instagram at Aimee Cerka or go to unstoppablebookkeeping.com. We'll get you taken care of. We can do that. I love doing those projects because I can see the progress. But what are you going to do this year so that it doesn't become this massive project again? Whether this is learning how to do it yourself, where I've got coaching programs that I can teach you how to do your QuickBooks, or hiring somebody to do it, having a bookkeeper do it so that you don't have to worry about it. There is nothing wrong with outsourcing things that are not your area of expertise. And a lot of times, even if you can do it, does that mean you should do it? And there can be a level of, we're working up to be able to hit this. And again, budgeting, being smart with our expenses, all of those things. There's a balance there, right? It's your decision, but looking again at the possibility and making sure that we're moving forward and not allowing the fact that we're making this big item on our to-do list as an excuse to be able to put it off. And it's too big of a project to be able to tackle. All right. That's what I've got for now. Send me a message on Instagram at Aimee Cerka. We had a couple things. So if you've got questions, shoot me the message. If you need support, shoot me a message too. We'll put all the links below that we talked about in the show notes. That's it for now. We'll see you next time. If you're struggling with shame and guilt around your finances, whether it's debt, impulse spending, mistakes from the past, or the fact that you still haven't hit your income goal, then it's time for you to work with me. There are different levels of support and price points that you can use on the path to removing that guilt and shame so you can step into your unstoppable life. After all, your finances are unique to you, and your support should be too. Go to workwithaimee.com to get started with one of my most popular programs, or you can book a Q&A call with me and we'll figure out what that next step should be. And those links are hanging out in the description of this video as well.